trying to let that play while I finish eating, but I don't want it to play too much. You know how that go when you ain't got permission, and no, I don't not own copyrights to the music or anything playing in the background, just to get that up out of there. But yeah, I'm gonna share some with y'all in a bit. Just checking these notifications they sending me and some investments going on, and also was dropping a few little content. Dropped some reels, posts and stories on Facebook. This the book, Evidence Clearly Seen. 10 areas of clearly seen objective evidence of what can be known about God. Written by Eugene Flynn. We're gonna do a page a day. Also, yeah, this is what I like about going autograph copy. All right, book. I like books. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'll drop the link to as well so you guys can get your own copy, hard book or paper book. So we're just gonna do the introduction and then we're gonna carry on. I am writing this for students as well as Christians that are being made to Christianity as anti-science and vice versa, and also being led to believe that evolution has something to do with the origin of life. This book is based on evidence that is clearly seen through the complexity found when examining what was made and stated in Romans chapter 1, verse 19 through 20, which reads, "Since what can be known about God is evident among them, because God has shown it to them, for his invisible attributes, that is, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clear, being understood through what, as a result, people are without excuse. I identify the God of the Bible as the creator of life and the universe based on the evidence examined within human history. Within what intricate nanometer complexity that is required in the most basic cellular life, within the intricate complexity that has been found at the quantum physical level, as well as the intergalactic structure of the universe. As an engineer, I am also writing this to stir more interest in science. I find it amazing Maxwell, Einstein, Niels Bohr, Paul Dirac, and Erwin Schrödinger, my apologies if I got your name wrong, Mr. Eric, um, developed astounding mathematical equations during horse and buggy days, 1860 through 1930. They did so with very little in the way of technology and instrumentation. So it gets deep. And we're going to pause it here. I'm going to put a bookmark in there. This is my father wrote this book. It's pretty dope. Similar to this other book I read from as well. Like, it's scripted and inspired through verses and readings from the Bible. It's something to make you think. Something to make you think about who created us, about who our creator is. Just spend the time getting to know your creator in this way. It's pretty interesting. It's a fun way to be a Christian, a fun way to get to know our creator. And this is one way that we do that. As believers, we find creative ways to share the wonderful message of Christ. I was going to tell you guys about I don't like to think about it too much. Was birth 2002, September 22nd. I had a few different names before Team Angie was settled and set in stone. Team Angie was not just a company name or whatever, but it was also a hashtag before then. When my sister first passed away, Team Angie is in honor of my late great sister Angela Glenn. So to keep her legacy, Team Angie was established as an LLC. It's not nothing I wanted to embark on my own. Uh, and still nothing I want to do on my own. I went with Team Angie because I had in mind team efforts to build something everlasting, to leave something behind. That was my intent. That was my goal. And nevertheless, it ended up being what it is. But that doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way. So when I started back in September of 2022, it was similar to now. It was seasons changing, working a job. It was always something going on. Just like in the news now, they're getting ready for a government shutdown. A lot of end time things. I was saying beware of October the 10th. I seen some stuff. I like the and not to be mix of all of that. I think for myself, and I like to be around people that think and challenge what the norm is. So that's how I got into conspiracy theory type of stuff. First, I was introduced to this stuff by, if it wasn't Young Pharaoh, it was Jamal Rashad, Brother Pilot, Dr. Umar, Brother Islam. Um, those were a few people. Uh, a few people that I really like start listening to and start like, wow, okay, these people think different. I like the way they think. Some older, some younger, but nevertheless, I was like starting to look into certain things they were talking about. Not to say I believe every little thing and I run with, but the way that they was talking about was like making you think, really question reality and what's going on. So that birthed in me a little more curiosity about the world and how to really play this game of life. When I was younger, growing up, we had a game called Life, I believe. So I didn't play too many games, but I did do a lot of that. I did partake in those activities. And I'll tell you about my childhood in a bit, on how I grew up. We're going to unfold this open book. If you guys got any questions as well, you can ask, get to know me. I'm a friendly guy. We could be friends. Also, if you like my type of content, make sure you subscribe. Check out my YouTube channel, Team Angie LLC. We like to kick it and spit knowledge and, look for the truth, find the facts. But anyway, I grew up in Midwest my whole life from Chicago, and I moved to the suburbs as a young adolescent. Like, basically before I was a teen, the type of guy like we didn't have much, but we had enough. We had love. We had community. I'm a millennial, so some about the millennials, not just me, how I grew up, but a lot of us, we encourage creativity. We encourage creative thinking. We used to play with toys, just having fun using our imagination on that. I didn't mind playing with myself if I had toys. I love my grandma. She used to buy us different cars, different luxury cars, and different sports cars. Just a lot of different cars with boys like um, cops and robbers. Different little like we had Halloween the whole year. We had the whole set. If you wanted to fight justice, they had a police kit. If you wanted to help people with fires, they had the firefighter kit. They had the med kit. Like all of this type of stuff. Like um, when I grew up, I was born in the '80s. I grew up through the '90s. So you could say when I grew up through the '90s, this the type of easy bake oven. So while we play with our toys, we cook ourselves a little snack. Like we were sufficient. We learned how to be self-sustained, and we learned about the power of community. And we had a little bit of patience. Everything wasn't so technical. We didn't have a lot of technology, but the things that we did have was like the house phone. Everybody knew your business. They knew who was calling the house. They knew where you were about to go. Like we had some type of GPS on you, in case if something happened, we'll know the whereabouts. We didn't mind telling our elders or our community being our out. They know what's going on. They're disciplining us as well. I grew up like that. Like my neighbors, I knew their mom, knew the kids. Their mom disciplined us, and she watched us, and different little stuff like that. It wasn't ever no funny stuff going on. We had crime as well. Different things was going on that we couldn't control, but nevertheless, we had a handle on it, and we wasn't living in fear. Um, and that was encouraged to play with toys, to go be around your friends, and to just have a little fun type stuff. We ride our bikes, we go walk the neighborhoods, we do all type of things, but we do it together. We wasn't online. We doing a lot of different things. So everybody chose their own routes. We had a time of purity, of innocence. We didn't worry about name brand things. We all just, as long as we had clothes and we had some energy, we had something to eat, we had fun. We made our own games up. So I grew up around that type of stuff, and it slowly but surely changed to where we don't communicate with people the same way. The communication skills are gone. People have some very soft skin. Like I said, we didn't worry about name brand, but when it started to get that way, it was about, oh, you poor, and that was the thing, and that's what became the thing, and it started generations as the generations changed to consumerism. People will be like, a lot of times, because I grew up middle class, so I experienced like being talked about because I didn't have the newest stuff, the nicest stuff, or name brands. I used to wear Payless, um, and stuff like that, or like the church, the community clothes. When they go open the doors and they give away stuff, you could go pick through. Like I grew up like that. I experienced that type of stuff. Shame. But I was great, and I was happy for that. I was never like I appreciate growing up that way. It made me who I am today. I'm not a greedy person. I'm not a competitive person. I am competitive as far as in sports and different things, but as far as somebody's success, I'm not competing to overshine somebody or to dim their light. I grew up liking people like being noticed, and vice versa. Like I used to like put attention our way to them. I like people, like that was my thing. Just communicating with people, getting to know people, and that was it. Like I like to wave to people when they wave back. Like that was something that made me happy when I was young. My mom used to be like, "Don't be waving to everybody. Don't be talking to everybody." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, slow down with that. But it was all out of love, though, because that's right. You can't be in everybody's face. Not as you can't be doing that because you never know who's going to try to snatch you up. And that's just a safety measure that my mom used to do because boys get snatched as well. Like, even looking back when my innocence was gone and now I could see what was going on in the world, when you're young. And what I mean by your innocence, like, you don't see dangers of the world, you don't really recognize danger because it hasn't been exposed to you yet. That's why a lot of people become traumatized because they're exposed to dangers too soon. It affects people, it affects their lifestyle, it affects who they become. Different traumas. That trauma comes from being exposed to a danger that you're not ready for. Who's really ready for danger anyway, right? But if you're conditioned in the right way and exposed the right way, then you will have a little bit of um, let's just say you have a little leeway to deal with these things. It won't shock you as much. It won't traumatize you. But yeah, boys get took. What's going on? Um, I remember times where, and this crazy too, like not to shame nobody's community or what people do, but this is the type of creepy stuff that goes on, right? Like walking home, guy pull up like, "Hey, you need a ride?" Like this is some weird behavior. You know what I'm saying? If I was a female, I probably would have got snatched. But if I was like as friendly as my I used to be, and my mom was telling me like, "Don't talk to everybody" or whatever, probably could have got took. Or not sure or what type of danger was right there, but important too because I grew up in a house of um, spirituality. We was religious people, and our spiritual practice was through Christ Jesus. I was brought into Christianity very young. The difference between like learning about God, I learned about Christianity as going to church through my family, right? And that was like the lifestyle. It was the culture. That was how I learned the culture, the behaviors and stuff like that, the lifestyle, and that was that. But I didn't really understand it because people could put their beliefs on you and they could try to convince you to see life a certain way until you really get to the point where you have to start making life what you want, and you have to start really learning on your own. You all day long. It's a lot of information always out there, but when you study this information, cross-examine it, and really get to know it for yourself, that's when you really know something and you stop believing in the whole thing. You stop, from what you was taught, how you grew up and all of this stuff. You start branching off into what you really believe. And growing up Christian, growing up, I always knew that like I just felt it like, when I got baptized especially, that was really when. At first it was just like, okay, I thought of God was like, as a child you think of these things as like cartoons, like, oh, it's just entertainment, right? Even in cartoon figures. So I already knew about like your parents, and then that was the first authority you ever know, and then you get to know your teachers, and they explain different authority figures like public relations, cops, doctors, different little occupations, right? Where they have structure, where you go through a chain of commands. You go to the hospital, you talk to the receptionist. Is what I mean, like that, right? And stuff like that. So you get to learn who to talk to in their positions and your position. And but through spirituality, back to that, and religion, right? Because that's what spirituality is. It's just a religion of whatever God this people is going to whatever religious practice that you're going to practice through whatever God, because that's why people have all these different religions and different practices. They believe in different gods, different spiritualities, and they're all just deities, entities, gods, whatever, right? It's all the same thing, just mean a powerful spiritual being that's unseen. So our practice with Christianity and Jesus Christ, and they have different. It gets complicated. They have different denominations and stuff like that, right? Like whatever, right? Overall, this is for people who believe Jesus Christ died for our sins, that God sent His only Son to die for our sins, so that we may have an eternal life in heaven with our Creator. And that's the overall ideology of Jesus Christ and who He is and what He's about, and who we believe that He actually was a person that came here down in human form and made the ultimate sacrifice. The sacrifice gods tell you to sacrifice because this is what they require in the spiritual realm is blood. And the like this book that I was just reading from, my father wrote, and that he believed in, and I believe in as well, that the creator of the universe, the number one God, the one who sent His Son Jesus Christ to die for our sins, that's who we believe in. That's what we think, and that's our ideology. And we believe that Jesus died for all of our sins, and that believe in Him, and that's what happened, and that's what He did, so that we have eternal life. The only religion who offers eternity, the only religion who marries us to His kingdom before we have to figure out if we're worthy or not to be liked and loved. His mercy and grace is everlasting, and He's always calling us to get to know Him and to have a relationship with God. Growing up Christian didn't mean I had a relationship with God. It just means that I knew about this stuff. And what I mean by like learning and really getting to know is when it came a point in my life where I was like, okay, I believe this is real now. I really want to get to know God. And it happens a few times and time again until you're really ready to submit to God's ways. And because we're born in this world, we're enticed to worldly things. And, it takes a long time to really figure out how to let go of these worldly ideologies. But anyway, just knowing growing up as a Christian that there was something more, that's it. I was taught that this isn't it. And how I use this vessel is very important. How I live my life, the choices I make, the decisions are important. To be mindful is important, the renewing of the mind. And that's what Christians really try to tell you in so many ways, but it's hard to tell you when you're seeing someone who's not actually living a lifestyle. So they can't really, tell you these things. But some people are good at quoting the Bible because they memorize it, they're drilling in their mind, but they can't tell you through their lifestyle. And you see who are children of the light through their acts and their deeds, their lifestyle, the way that they live. So that's what it's ultimately all about. At first, when I heard about this stuff, it was like fairy tale to me because it's like, okay, really is power or whatever, right? Until you really start asking more questions and you start figuring it out if this is really for you. I said that to say this is because I was always questioning, is this stuff real, or is this, something that scare me? Because in Christianity, they do love to scare you with God. Some people do this. They do that fear preaching. I know you guys heard about that before, and if not, just Google fear preaching, and you're going to hear a lot of sermons and a lot of pastors are going to be speaking that right now, and that's that. The rapture came, we're stuck, whatever, right? You hear this stuff going on. That's fear mongering. And that's just what I thought it was. Like it was just a way to control us, whatever, right? We got to live a certain way because they want to scare us with this God stuff. And that's how I felt about it. That's how I thought about it for the longest. But that's how I wanted to. I thought about it. But something in me when I got baptized made me think differently. I was filled with a new light at the world differently. I felt differently. You know, it's not about somebody controlling us. It's about, I just felt deeply, real deeply, like convictions. No matter if they're trying to control us or not, they're telling us right from wrong. And now I really understand right from wrong. It's like, okay, I used to just sin without any conscious thought about it because it's normal. It's whatever. These people trying to control me. But once I got baptized, then I was like, wow, these people are right. This stuff is wrong. And I really started to think about my actions. And I kind of thought twice about sinning, once I knew what sins was. So that was the difference. And with that, okay, I want to know more about this stuff. But that's a scary thing. And I warn you guys as well, too, like, to be slow and to stick with the Bible. Don't get into all of this new worldly witchcraft stuff because that's what it is. And that's what it does to you. It makes you think that everything is all right and that these are the true practices. And, it starts leading you to a lot of different stuff. And that's where the confusion comes in. I've known all my life that God is not the author of confusion. We think we know everything. We think we know the answer. And we end up finding out we don't. We're a mess and we need help cleaning up ourselves. And that's when we go to God. And God is merciful, slow to anger as we should be, but we're not. But nevertheless, He's willing to forgive us for our sins and throw it in the sea of forgiveness. He won't even remember it, it's just drowned away. That's when we need to have mercy on ourselves and forgive ourselves and just to try better, being accountable. Consider what the world encourages us to do. It encourages us to do whatever you want to do and don't think about nothing else. Just have pleasure, have fun. This is why the world is a scary place to be. Like, and whenever we agree with the world and we find ourselves agreeing with the worldly view, is when we should turn our face and run because that's a very bad thing. The world is a fallen place, and the world is total opposite of what God designed to desire us to do and to be. But yet and still, this world is enticing because it is what it is, right? I just had that curiosity in me, like, what is it? What is it about? What is, I want to know, like, what is this world about? The more I asked questions, the more I found. So with that, I knew God was real without a doubt. I just didn't know like about this world and everything, like if it was round or flat and all of that. So I really started questioning everything. And I knew in my spirit, like certain stuff just didn't make sense. It didn't add up. So whatever, right? But I know without a doubt, like it gotta be a God. And the more I felt that way, the more I start like, trying to get to know God, the more God has been like looking after me. prayer. Prayer works a lot. That's a secret tool to keep you safe, and fasting as well. Those are two tools. It's a lot of times looking back now, as I say about the innocence, is why I brought that up and why I even mentioned it because sinning and you're a beginner, you're so innocent to this spiritual battle, you don't really recognize the danger that you're in. And once you become not a baby in Christ anymore, you really start to, mature and feed on spiritual practices and spiritual things. You become more equipped to see these things happening in real time. You'll look back and you'll recognize the spiritual battle I fought. That was a spiritual attack on me. And you will start to look at people differently, not for who they are, but for who they entertain, what spirits they entertain. And it's like, it's serious. It's very, very serious. As a young boy, hearing about these things and just like, people preaching at me or whatever, different information out there, I just like heard it and never really, I took it as a grain of salt. Would grab a handful of that, but not much lasts in my spirit, not much really lasts with me. It's been shook up the way. And when I look back at it, it's like, okay, I remember just a little piece. And the more I start finding out for myself what's true to me, the more I start remembering those pieces I had, and I start really just thanking God, I'd be more grateful. Like it's no joke. It's no. I don't get paid to say this. I don't. I get nothing from a real true life because one day for God is like a thousand of. I mean, 100 years for us. We could suffer all 100 years of our life, and that'd be miserable, right? But once we done and over with, that one day of misery, that 100 years of misery will be like one day with Christ. We'll be spending time thinking about how did I make it? And it starts showing you like you did, even though you felt you were suffering and you helped people. You was the light in this situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your suffering it was for a purpose. And that's what God is. God is mysterious. He'll lead you through things you won't even know. Low key, you'll be leaving blessings for somebody else to just walk past and to get exactly what they need for the day. We are all a part of God's plan, whether we notice it or whether we want to consciously. Even those who sin, God looks out for the sinners and the saints. He don't look at us as a separate anything. Like the way that we look at each other, whether we Muslim, Christian, black, white, rich, poor, whatever we could find a way to divide each other, that's what we do here. And that's not what the kingdom of Christ is about. I didn't really want to turn this into that, but it is what it is now, right? One of my cousins like, "You gonna be a preacher?" And I looked at him crazy, but I was like, maybe he right. Maybe we do need to be preaching because the world we're living in is a dark place, and it takes somebody with courage to stand up and be like, I don't want to be darkness in this world and continuously blighting others. From the foolish up, we had entertainment, and that was the conditioning of the younger minds. That's what took away our purity, our innocence. Once entertainment came around, first we entertained ourselves. We had toys, we had creativity, we had imagination, and at some point, like we had little castles as well, like Barbie doll houses or whatever. A boy knew who he was a boy, and a girl knew she was a girl, right? And we was cool with that. We appreciated that. We accepted that, and we played. We had everything we needed, right? We had the little Tonka trucks. We used to go dig up stuff, be a little construction man. Um, we had a good life. Technology came and took everybody's ability to think away. It came, took everybody's creativity away. It came to make us realize that we're not as smart as we need to be because people dumb down and rely on these things so much that I mean, it could be true. That's why everybody's so familiar with chat AI, right? Because we don't put in the effort anymore. We allow technology to basically live life for us. That's not what we were meant to be. With this shutdown, all of these distractions, that's not what life is meant to be. But when you spend time getting to know your creator spend time showing you how to create the life that you design. And he give you a piece of your dreams, a little piece at a time. Like, low, I'm gonna make you a millionaire. Check out this. Something you need to act on. As soon as you start getting busy, you like, okay, now I can see this being a way that I can make millions. And I continue to get busy, show you a little bit more. You're like, okay, I'm being molded to the person I need to be so that I could take care of these millions. Everything is working according to God's plan, and you're being burned through the fire to get shiny in order, just like a rock or gold, right? I mean, a rock of gold. You have to go through this furnace to be fully polished and appreciated. A ruby only gets clean by being rubbed. It has to be scrubbed, it had to go through that roughness. And the only person who's great is something to think about with Team Angie. It was all my life I was thinking about just being a creator and creating. This is the time to create, especially with recessions going on, government shutdown, and people losing their food stamps and whatever, whatever, right? It's time to start being creative and create your own lifestyle, create your own income. I'm gonna show y'all this notification in a bit too with this one of my investments. With Team Angie, that was an investment. I had my last paycheck. I didn't even have much saved prior to that. And I've been recommitting every time and time again. Um, I don't really know when the last time God was like, man, it's enough is enough. Um, I don't know, my life been crazy these past few years. Like just relying on God and trying and adjusting my perfect by a long shot. I fall every day. The devil uses my mind a lot. He try to make me feel inadequate, um, incompetent. But that's when not we, but me, when I realized, like, it's a battle of the mind. This is a spiritual attack. I have all that I need, and I'm more than a conqueror through Christ. And why would I sit here and down myself? The devil always try to play on my confidence because I'm a creator. He want me to feel like I'm not worthy of creating. I can't create, and because I do try to create, and I have failure in the past, that's what's going to be my outcome every time, and that's simply not true. So I rebuke those thoughts, and I have to continuously rebuke those thoughts because they come, and they come. And also, dealing with he will use people to do subtle witchcraft, whether they know or not, conscious or not. Saying certain things. That's why I'm always big on the way that I speak and how I speak. What I'm saying, I don't say good morning for that specific reason. I don't feel like I'm doing you any justice by telling you have a good morning. I understand what people's intentions are, but I'm more conscious, more aware. And words are powerful. Words are very powerful. That's how we create with words. Of course, we create in other ways, but that's the most powerful way to create is with words. That's why I always speak highly of myself, make me talk down on myself, and still my confidence because the way that you speak about yourself is true. The way you think about yourself is true. If you speak that you're a dummy and you think that you're a dummy, that's true. And if you speak and think otherwise, it's true as well. So you got to really, really be conscious about what you're saying about yourself, how you feel about yourself. That's why I advocate for mental health awareness is because this here, what I'm talking about, this is how you truly be free and pursue happiness. It's a constant pursuit. It's not nothing practice so that you will have that habit and you will be that person. Someone who's nice isn't just born nice. They didn't buy a nice package from the store. Every time they have a choice to be mean, they practice to be nice. And they do it so much to where it becomes a habit, to where that's who they are, a nice person. And with other things and everything, I'm about to hurry up and share this with y'all. Then I'm finna cut it. I'm finna cut it short. Investments that's going on, like I was saying, like this the time to really be making money and really investing in your future and your financial literacy. Because the only way to get rich is to change your spending habits, to change your relationship with money. If you want to be rich, you got to have money. It ain't about how much you make; it's about how much you keep. And what you keep, is it working for you so that you don't have to keep working for money? Also, about having multiple streams of income so you don't rely on one source of income, because anything can happen at any time, especially with this government. You don't want to rely and trust on this government to take care of you, because they're going to do what's best for them, which they're a business, a company, I understand. But at the end of the day, their best interest is their best interest. It's not yours. They don't have you in mind when they're making these decisions. Trying to get a job after catching the back and messing myself up with that type of mindset, thinking stuff cool, being misled, being conditioned to do certain ignorant things, being blinded. That's how your innocence gets took away. When you're blinded to do ignorant things and think that something positive is going to come from it, that's foolish. That's a foolish mindset to have. And it's not healthy to have either. It's not anything that's going to help you have a better life either. And that's just real. Anybody tell you anything else, they don't want to see you having a true fulfilled life, because that's a miserable way to live. I'm about to shit real quick, and the link in my bio as well if y'all want to go ahead, get your free $5 worth of stocks today, and then sell them in a week of timing for y'all to go ahead. So I'll be able to sell this in a few, not a few days, about 2 weeks on the 18th. I'm gonna be so happy. It's kind of like hovering around the $14 price before it really take off. These are the coins right here. Everything really. Let me see. Okay. They was telling me about the crypto coins. This is my stock. See, like it's been rocking like this. So I believe like around like 14, 21, trying to hit that 15. It's been between 14 and 15. So when they first launched this, it was between 13 and 15. And now it's between, I forgot, maybe it was between 12 and 15. I don't remember actually. It's like a $3 range though. Because when I bought in, it was at 4, between 13 and $15 you could buy in. And it's been around that range for the past 2 weeks. So I figured they just go do this until the end of the month. I ain't really tripping though, because on the 18th I'm taking the money out. But I encourage y'all, if you do have investments, don't be quick to sell, because that's how I felt. And I'll go over a few old videos where I was like, man, it's a rocky boat right now, but I'm not going to abandon the ship. I'm going to rock with it. And that's why I don't regret it, because things do turn around. It was looking bad, just like it was looking bad for the other one I just showed y'all. Like even right now, I'm not in profit with the stocks or whatever, right? We only up $1.19 right now, but we finna just be taking profit because we all right, September 27th. September 26th. They getting ready to do their move, so that's what I'm really waiting on. Like around here on the let me see, October 18th. That's when we gonna sell the other one. Wait, let me go up. Okay, the price would be like 1060. All right, 1080. That's October 14th. So October 14th, we finna take profit. We gonna cash out and do November the 4th. Cause what's that? October 14th. Okay, October 14th. I'm gonna sell all of these. However much we make in the meantime, it'll probably be like $10 or $12. I don't know. I'm gonna take all that. This is what y'all can do too. It's a strategy to come up, because I'm finna do this for the next 3 months. And this is with only one coin, but I got a few other coins that's doing the same exact thing as this. and it's five of them actually that's doing the exact same thing as this. I bought two more dark, and I can remember the other off the bat. Leo coin. It's a little bit higher than this one, but the other ones was about the same, similar price, if not a little more, a little less. But it's only like $10 to get a million coins, and once you go to a dollar or even 50 cents, you'll have 500,000 or $1 million off a $10 profit. Just like this is on the low end, just like on the higher spectrum with the Bitcoin 5 years ago. If you do it today, and this is like um, small profits in the next few months, but coins like this that do numbers like this, they usually keep going up year after year. This just last year is repeating what it did, but it's on the higher spectrum this year. Like I showed y'all earlier today, if you didn't get a chance to check it out, it was at that was before the price got to moving too much. Let me just see if I can. Let's just go back 1 week then, because all right, we could do the day like this. Okay, October the 1st. It was at 926, right? And I showed this example earlier. 926. Let me see. Well, 926 earlier today. And last year around this time, the price was 921. And I'll show you. October the 1st was like, right. Yeah, I can't get it. Man. Anyway, damn. Okay, 925, which is today, is October the 2nd. But October 1st, it was 921. Okay, today, fast forward this year. Look how far it went up. And it's supposed to be doing this until the 14th. And it's way above last year. So just imagine how far it's going to go up to the 14th until it take that break. And then it drop, which is probably not going to drop as low as it did last year. Of course, it's not going to do the exact same thing, but when the price dropped to around 8 like it did this time, but it didn't do exactly what it did, but it was pretty low, 920ish. That's what I'm thinking it might drop to again. But you know it's gonna start dropping around the 14th. So that's why if you bought in now, you could take profit until the 14th of October. So 2 weeks of just letting it sit, let it profit. And then you're gonna, after those 2 weeks, you're gonna cash it out. You're gonna sell it all and hold on in case you got any other investments. Or you, but if I was you, what I would do is wait until November the 3rd when the price hit its lowest peak before it rises again, and then just buy in as much as you can. When you start hearing, oh, the market's dropping, the stock market's dropping, you everybody gonna be in a frenzy. This is when it's getting ready to do that massive move again, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, let me not get into the markets. Let me, whatever. I'm gonna be fear mugger. I'm not gonna hop on this opportunity. Opportunity comes with risk. I hate to say no risk, no reward, but there's no opportunity if there's no risk. So, with that being said, if you want to take a risk on an opportunity, you will be happy you have a reward on November the what's that, the 15th, November the 16th. And if you want an opportunity, you will risk putting some money in and cash out on the December 8th. So we're going to do three moves in the next 3 months. Actually, four moves. Two moves this month, and then one move next month, and then one final move for December. And if you really want to, keep making moves like this. These are money making activities. For the month of January, we could do it again. And then the month of January, we could do. So after that, with this particular cryptocurrency, the opportunities is going to fall until like March. No, the opportunity is basically going to be gone for the long run until like April. So until like April, you'll have to hold on for the whole month of April until the middle of the next month of May 22nd, down until like April 7th until May or whatever when you want to hop back in and make a substantial amount. But I mean, if you want to come into the new year with some profits, this is what you would do. You would buy as much as you can, and as low as you can. Because I bought in really at 940, but the spread was a little higher, so it was like a 10% spread. So they put me in at 10 up flat to start making profit. The spreads are usually lower than this, but when the price is so low, the spreads will be lower. But it was a lot of people in. It was a high commodity at the time. So they was like, we're going to capitalize off of it because they know that this going to do big numbers and they're going to get their little cut regardless. So that's what that was. But yeah, if you want to buy in lower than that, you'll be able to do so November the 5th if you don't do so now because it's not going to stop. Crypto. And of course, it's going to go up and down, but you can see like pudgy penguins, Dodge Coin, like everyone do their thing. You might hear Litcoin went down or some other one. Like these are all the ones doing numbers right. XRP almost about to be $3 again. I already cashed out on them, but I really want to buy some more of these and just hold on to them because these gonna be the ones that's gonna be like it's too expensive to buy in after a while. But I really believe that this gonna be one of the ones that's gonna be the next big thing. They've been doing crazy numbers. Like last month, they like 270. Yeah. So this would have been a good time to get in because it ain't gonna never go back to like $1 or none less than that. And when I first found out about this, it was way less than $1. It was like these Peppy coins I'm showing you. And I was active with the world and these things that I missed on this divine opportunity. And there's plenty of other opportunities as well. But you know, when the timing is right, the timing is it. And you can't rewind the time. You have to just stay aware of the times and capitalize off the times. This is the power of being present in the moment and enjoying the present day. I was so worried about the future and my past and everything, but capitalizing on that present moment that I was able to get free cryptos and get as many as I wanted as before they turned to $1. Because I would have had as many as I wanted, just like right now. I got as many as I want before they reach $1. And you never know when that's gonna be. So let's go back to like 5 years with this coin specifically because so this still last year it was less than $1. You could have bought a few of them, but it's been a while since it was way less than that. 20 cent or like 50 cent. Once it hit 50 cent, if you had like 2 million, you would have had I think like a couple 100,000, and you wouldn't even paid that much. I ain't finna sit here and lie about the numbers because I don't know right now. But numbers don't lie. We could do some numbers or whatever, but you could do the numbers yourself. You'll do 100,000. So that's basically because it's 50 cent doubled. I'm just lost doing this math in my head, but yeah, that's that. Man, I'm tired of the motherfucker. I'm finna lay it down. Corn, but that should be tweaked. Oops. Yeah, baby. I've been looking at these lately because I grow myself. And you'll see on my shorts where it's at. Oh yeah, this is where I grow. Um, it's in there somewhere. But yup, that's that. This is my channel too. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my more about Team Angie, how we got started.